Hey everybody, welcome to Hit Rewind. We are starting a two-part episode. Well, how do you say that? It's not a series. It's just a two-parter, I guess, on Tarantino.
Double feature.
Yeah, a double feature. Hey, that's perfect considering Grindhouse and the way he broke up Kill Bill. But it is Quentin Tarantino double feature, double feature. It's two films. We're going to go in chronological order. So we are going with Reservoir Dogs. And yes, he didn't direct it, but he did write it. True Romance. And the next one's going to be Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown, where a heist of some sort is critical to the plot. It's funny, is like once Jackie Brown didn't do as well, it seemed like he changed his focus to more historical or epic kind of. Do you think he'll ever make anything small and personal again? I think he only has one film left that he's restricted himself to 10 films.
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see him dial it back, but that's he does do things big.
Yeah, it's weird to think that there was a time 10 years ago, I think it was 10 years ago, where he was hired by Paramount to do a Star Trek film. I knew he was never going to direct that. And I knew that an R-rated Star Trek film was almost never going to happen. And guess what, kids? It's probably going to be sold later as like some series on Paramount Plus. That's about it.
I mean, I can't really imagine that. I mean, he's a total nerd, and I'm sure he'd nerd out, and in that way, it could be fun. But I don't think he knows how to do a movie without lots of splash and violence and gore. So it doesn't seem in his wheelhouse.
Yeah. But you think about his first film, how small it was and how intricate. He only had what I think $2.5 million to work with, and the only reason he got the names that he got, I mean, I know they weren't big really at the time. They were either rising or they would break out afterwards. But Harvey Keitel had faith in him. He read the script. He had a deal with live entertainment for lower budget films and said, "This is what I'm going with." He did it for almost nothing. And while it wasn't a big hit, it was something that was talked about at film festivals. This is a new rising voice, and that it blew up on video. And it's just so funny because if Harvey didn't believe in that, I don't know if Tarantino would have a career like he does. He probably would just be writing scripts for other people.
Probably. I mean, it said that he was planning to make the movie, himself with a bunch of friends and $30,000. It would have been a bit different, and
Yeah,
probably no one would have seen it.
I mean, we don't know though, because look, Clerks came out 2 years later on a
That's true.
$15,000 $20,000 budget, and El Mariachi came out. What I find amazing about the early '90s, or late '80s, early '90s, is all of these voices coming up, and clearly they would do these small scale movies with a vision. They would, they
Yeah.
could have sold these scripts to other people. I mean, the Coen brothers, Sam Raimi, uh,
Yeah.
uh, Richard Linklater. It's just this is a really exciting period of time where all these directors are really changing the independent scene. Steven Soderbergh, for fuck's sake. Um, and I think that Reservoir Dogs could happen today, but I feel like it would be lost in the oh my god, there's 1,000 things debuting streaming every day. Whereas lower budget movies, I'm not talking direct to video. I'm talking like the stuff that would play like what was the one we used to go to, the OCO in
Yeah, I
Monterey.
think so.
Yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
stuff like that. That was their niche, was smaller independent movies, and I kind of miss that concept. I don't really think it happens anymore, except for the random Terrifier 3, getting distributed wide and for whatever reason making a fuck ton of money. Um,
Yeah, it's a real shame. I mean, I know we've talked about this a lot of times, but it's just like the movie experience has been forever stained. Like, it just isn't what it was. It's like, it's totally just diminished the value and the experience, and it's really fucking sad.
Yeah. What I do like is every once in a blue moon you hear about a success story for a road show. The director will travel around with his film, or somebody will come and talk before the film, and that builds word of mouth. And I think we saw it with Bubba Hotep, because I remember they came to Monterey. And
Oh,
it used to be more common. But I think Kevin Smith is basically the only known director that is going around with his films. And the box office on that is weird, so you never know if the movies are really successful. But because people love to hear him talk, it's like you're seeing a one man show, and then a movie's the bonus.
yeah.
And Tarantino has that at his retro movie theater, the New Beverly, where he will find independent tiny movies that need exposure. He'll clean up old prints from his collection and show those to people. I mean, it's literally at the point now that in New Beverly he has a smaller theater with only 20 seats, and sometimes they just show VHS tapes just for the experience on a really big screen TV.
I mean, honestly, if I lived down there, I'd probably go to the movie theater all the time.
Yeah.
He shows some really fun shit.
Yeah, and his love for movies is clearly, I mean, it's on display here. And music and everything about pop culture. And this is kind of a thing that still repeats today. Instead of a movie filled with new songs, where they were purposely building
Yeah.
a soundtrack of newer stuff trying to debut. Sometimes it was, hey, this didn't make it on the album, we'll sell it to you for cheap. But that continues to today because it seems like most movies now are all about the known soundtrack, repurposing songs that you've known for decades. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of does that.
Yeah.
Not kind of, does do
It's
that.
really classic rock, and yeah. And there's something about it that just really works.
Well, with
It
Tarantino,
seems like this was the first movie that did that.
Yeah, and his isn't really rock. It's a lot of it is his environment was he was raised in the ghetto. He was seeing grindhouse films. He was listening to funk and soul. And you see a lot of that. I still don't understand why he thinks it's okay to say the N-word. I don't think he's done it lately, but holy shit, he writes it a lot. And that scene in Pulp Fiction's fucked up.
I know I hadn't watched either of these movies for quite a long time, and I understand the time period, but yeah, there was a lot of that in there.
And
I was like, that hurts a little.
It's really common in TV shows and movies now to change around the timeline. It seemed very new when Reservoir Dogs happened. It's
Sure.
Yeah, so you're seeing...
You mean when you're jumping around in time in the story? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so you have...
Yes.
You have the opening where you get to know everybody in this... it's very high-energy dialogue. You get to know the characters through the dialogue. And then all of a sudden you just find, oh, wait, the heist that they talked about the whole fucking time, it's over. You never actually see the heist. You only see the before and the aftermath. And... it's interesting is that he goes way after the fact when everything's gone horribly wrong. They're meeting at the warehouse that's their their drop off point, and then slowly going back, building the case. Where Tim Roth is undercover talking to his handler and stuff like that, and then slowly the meeting, and then you're jumping around. The heist has already happened. That's when they're all getting shot at and stuff like that. It's really interesting, but not complicated. Like you're never lost as to what's going on.
Truth.
And just changing the language of things. Like, I love the fact that he acknowledges that our world exists, which seems like a lot of times they didn't want to bother doing, except for like one-liner jokes like, oh, use the force, Luke, no, I mean, they're having genuine conversations about the song Like a Virgin. They're referencing things that exist, like, I'm watching The Lost Boys. This guy looks like the Thing from the fucking Fantastic Four.
Oh, sure, right,
Now, it's a lot of times when they do it, it feels forced. When Tarantino does it, it feels like a natural conversation because most of us have these conversations every day about things that we've watched, that we've heard, that we've read.
Yeah, there's not very many situations or movies or whatever that I watch and say, you know what, they got it. They actually can write dialogue that sounds like the way that friends really talk to each other. And there's very few times, and I think, like this and, definitely some Kevin Smith stuff, there's just a few movies that I'm like, God, it's so spot on.
Yeah,
really talk to each other.
But the difference between Kevin Smith and Tarantino is Tarantino has the actors that can convince you this is a real conversation. A lot of times it seems stilted and forced in Kevin Smith movies, especially the early ones, because the actors just didn't have the chops yet. I mean, I love Jason Lee and Ben Affleck, and Jason London when they're having conversations about like Superman and Lois Lane having a baby, or the Star Wars Millennium, not the Millennium Falcon, the when they blow up the Death Star, and they just don't have the chops to make it sound like real dialogue. It's just like, I'm repeating the lines that this crazy guy wrote.
Yes.
Whereas Tarantino,
exactly.
Tarantino, I'm thoroughly convinced because, I mean, look at the fucking cast. I've never thought Tarantino was a very good actor, and thank God in this one he barely says anything, but we have Buscemi fucking knocking it out of the goddamn park. He had done a few things before this, but that's the guy I'm like, holy shit, who is that guy? He's amazing. In Michael Madsen, he had been around, but he seemed like the king of cool. And in this one, he layers it with some psychotic behavior. That whole scene, dancing around, he's like, torture you? Okay, there's nothing you can do. I'm going to do this anyway. And chopping off the ear, holy shit. And then singing to it? Wow.
Yeah, I remember it being pretty messed up, but it was really way more messed up than I remember.
Yeah, and I don't think they actually show it, but you hear it. And it's the effect of, it's the Jaws effect, and knowing the shark is out there instead of seeing the shark makes it so much scarier.
Do you know, I read that at like the Sundance premiere that Wes Craven walked out during that scene.
The guy who did Last House on the Left? What the fuck?
I know.
Okay.
I don't know. You'll have to look that up later. That's what I read in a couple different places.
Yeah. And then of course everybody else is pre-established and reliable. I mean, fucking Harvey Keitel. It's Harvey Keitel and Tim Roth, so like that. It's so funny is before he accepted the role and got Reservoir Dogs going. Do you know what movie he was trying to get the lead in?
Are we talking about Harvey Keitel?
Harvey Keitel wanted to do What About Bob?
Ew, no.
Yeah,
he would never have pulled that off. Wait, who do you want to be? Did he want to be Bob?
No, he wanted to be Richard Dreyfuss, as he thought that his straight man attitude could bounce off really well with Bill Murray's. And then when maybe
the straight man, but he never could have pulled off Bob. I was like, damn,
no. But then he heard that they were looking at Richard Dreyfuss, and he goes, holy shit, that's the right choice, because Richard Dreyfuss is fucking Richard Dreyfuss. I can't hit those manic levels that Richard Dreyfuss. He says, I would have played it all wrong. But look, because he made that choice to do Reservoir Dogs instead, it changed a lot. I mean, he started getting work again, too. His career was pretty dry at this point. And, well, he was never really the lead again. I don't remember. But he was always like...
I mean, we got to see his junk in an Oscar-winning film. So, good job, Harvey.
I forgot about the piano. Yes, there's that.
I mean, that was a very acclaimed film, and that was definitely after this movie.
Yeah.
So...
I don't know what else to say about this one. It's very good dialogue, the pacing, and the intensity at the end. I don't know why I was younger. I couldn't handle some of this real dark, cynical stuff at the end, but clearly they all die. There's no way any of them survived.
No, I'm not entirely sure that Mr. Pink dies.
Buscemi.
You can hear in the background, like, from inside, you can hear outside shots being fired, and him, like, it sounds like he's surrendering, and that he, gets arrested. So I am not entirely sure that I don't think he died. I think that he may be the only person.
Okay, yeah, and Tim Roth definitely does not live.
I don't know. That's debatable to me. I think that there's some. I don't know. When I read some of the people who had been considered for parts or turned down parts, and I'm just like, wow, this would have been so different. Tarantino wanted to play Mr. Pink. Buscemi wanted to be Mr. White. Madsen originally auditioned for Mr. Pink. George Clooney was up for Mr. Blonde. He was turned down. Walken refused the role of Mr. Blonde.
Oh.
It's like, Samuel L. Jackson auditioned for Mr. Orange. Robert Forster auditioned for the part of Joe. Just so many could-have-beens,
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just wild. And look at all those dudes that he eventually, ended up working with in the future.
Yeah, apparently his list of potential actors for every movie is I would love to see all of them, because they're always layered to the gills with, like, holy fuck, that's such an amazing choice. Like, you'll see something weird in there too, like Rick Springfield as Mr. Blonde, And what I find interesting is, for years, do you remember he had a script going around that he was going to direct called The Vega Boys? And it was supposed to be that Mr. Blonde, Michael Madsen character, was the brother of Vincent Vega in Pulp Fiction, John Travolta's character, and that they were going to have a heist movie that takes place before both.
That would have been cool. I mean, it does say his name is something Vega.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was. I did catch a few other references to future things. Mr. White talks about Alabama. He references Alabama.
Okay.
And I'm trying to remember. I think they also don't they reference the character from Pulp Fiction, Ving Rhames' character.
Oh, Marcellus. Yeah. I'm pretty sure
they reference Marcellus Wallace. I just was just like, I never. It took a billion years later, 30 years later, for me to catch those references.
Yeah.
It was just kind of cool. I have one other comment, and then I'm done.
Okay.
I don't even know why I care. I don't know why it bothers me. But has come. Everybody's made of regular colors: pink, white, blue, brown, orange, and then blonde. That's not a fucking color.
That's true.
Weird. I don't know. It was just weird.
All right, so our second feature is True Romance, directed by Tony Scott. And I know that Tarantino has had issues with this because, of course, he prefers to direct his own scripts. Tony Scott made it a little too polished, a little too fancy for him. He does a commentary track on the DVD, which is interesting because you think Tony Scott would have. I hate to say this, but Tarantino is going to break his own neck sucking his dick. Because I've never...
Sorry.
He fucking gives himself so much credit. I was listening to his podcast the other day, and he's like, just like Spielberg, I write amazingly, dramatic movies with some of the funniest dialogue you've ever heard. And I was like, Jesus!
Well, he does pat himself on the back quite a bit.
Yeah, he does. I'm not going to lie that he's not funny, and especially, weird little moments. But, dude, cool it, all right?
Yeah. Well, I have some overall feelings about Quentin Tarantino and how he seems like he's just... the reason why I laughed when you said that is because I also think that he, sucks a lot of dick.
He sucks a lot of toes.
He's just... He just seems to be such an ass kisser. It's just a little bit too much. I get you're a fanboy. I respect it. I love a lot of nerdy shit. But damn, dude, dial it the fuck back.
There's a story someone was telling is that he was at a party and someone said he had overheard someone say John Saxon was there. He jumps up on a table, yells out really loud. He goes, "Did someone say John Saxon is here?" And then someone says, "No, I said John so-and-so." And then slowly got off the table and wandered off because he wanted to be the center of attention somehow while showing off John, like, come on, you think John Saxon wants that fucking attention? He was probably like 75 at the time.
Yeah, and he certainly doesn't want the attention from him.
Yeah, it's so it's almost better that True Romance does have someone else taking the reins. It didn't work with Natural Born Killers. Holy fuck! If Tarantino's going to remake any of his scripts, do that one, because you remember I was in the theater with you and I almost threw up.
Wait, what?
Remember we saw Natural Born Killers? You, me, and Brant went and saw Natural Born Killers, and I almost,
yeah.
the camera wouldn't stop moving.
I don't remember Brant being involved with that, but yes, I remember that we made some interesting choices in our youth.
Yeah, well, that was when he was red hot, and we were really excited about the movie, and it fucking made me want to throw up. Now, Tony Scott does keep the camera moving, he does keep it flashy, but at the same point, doesn't make you want to throw up. He wouldn't get there until Man on Fire and Domino.
No comment.
Yeah. I know people love Man on Fire, but no. That's a script they just can't get right. They've done it twice. True Romance, of course, is... this is when Christian Slater is the coolest fucking dude on Earth. And this is probably, besides Heather's, is probably his showcase. And sadly, it didn't make any money because maybe you shouldn't open it against Demolition Man, the Beverly Hillbillies, and The Good Son. Seems like a bad idea.
Dang, did we see Beverly Hillbillies in the theater, or did we wait till video?
No, we saw it in theaters. I saw Demolition Man as well.
Yeah.
I remember my youth pastor wanted to go see a movie, and we were debating, and I was like, I really want to see True Romance. I just saw Reservoir Dogs. This is really cool, and it has like the greatest cast. And he's like, yeah, I don't know about that. And I go, what's wrong? He goes, well, it's R-rated. I go, Demolition Man's R-rated. And it's like, yeah, I have more affinity for sci-fi. You know what? Now that I've seen, both of them, yeah, he probably made the right choice because some of the conversations in True Romance wouldn't go over too well with the youth pastor.
Yeah, well, he was also super young, and so he could have easily gone the wrong way with that, but
yeah,
it was for the best choice. Yeah.
But yeah, what I love about it is every 10 minutes it's a different movie. I mean, it's a road trip movie, which I love because it's made for like an ADHD mind like mine. And my God, Tony Scott is getting everybody. The word must have been around, not just because Tony Scott was a big name director, but there was something about Tarantino's script that he could get all these great actors. Get Walken, get Hopper, get Gary Oldman, why can't I think? Well, I guess Michael Rappaport really wasn't a name yet. And there's Val Kilmer in a small cameo as Elvis. When people say Val Kilmer's in the movie, and I think it was on the first poster, which I had on my wall, that's fraudulent, I think. Don't do that. They don't show his face.
Yeah. No, never. I do think, there's some very interesting, people who are more character actors like Saul Rubinek.
Yeah,
who I love, but he's not a household name.
No.
Robson Pinchot, who is like, known for some other eccentric roles, but
Yeah, but not playing.
I 100%. I forgot. The only person I actually forgot about was James Gandolfini, and I was like, oh shit!
Yeah.
I totally forgot that he was in this movie. And then when that whole fight scene comes up, I was like, damn, I think I've watched all this out.
Yeah. What's funny is I think that's when people started noticing Gandolfini too. It's just like, who is this guy?
Absolutely.
Just having a real fucking Brad Pitt for like 5 minutes.
I know. Just like I was like, you can tell that dude's never been high. He is just.
Hey, man.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
just...
of course, all of this really works because Patricia Arquette is so fucking adorable, so sweet, so real. I believe every single second of it that she would fall in love with him, and it's such an adorable relationship in this horrifying setup of all he wants to do is break her free from the pimp that Gary Oldman plays. Holy shit, what a fucking performance. That's another planet. Gary Oldman back then really seemed like he was, what's the craziest fucking thing I can do?
Honestly, I really think that he is just like next fucking level. There are so few people in his stratosphere.
Yeah,
I
Johnny
after
Depp.
watching that scene again, I was like, he is one of the greatest actors
Yeah.
living.
Johnny Depp wants to be Gary Oldman. He will never be Gary Oldman
No,
because
God, no.
I think the money ruined his brain. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's no longer interested in
Yep.
acting. He's only interested in collecting the paycheck, and that's what ruined. Pirates of the Caribbean is the worst thing to happen to Johnny Depp. Um,
I can see what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just really interesting seeing the performance that Walken gives as he's talking to Dennis Hopper is one of the most sinister, but feels 100% grounded kind of thing. Not the big cartoony performance. It's almost like it was necessary because Gary Oldman's performance was so big that they needed to bring out this slow burn, kind of like a venomous snake waiting to strike with Walken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
that makes sense.
yeah, and I really like Bronson Pinchot. He's playing kind of against type because he was always playing a wacky character, you know, mostly known for Perfect Strangers and Beverly Hills Cop movies. And in this one, just a really high strung, but like trying to restrain that high strung thing. And this just like man, it's just falling fucking apart. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's so pathetic,
Yeah.
but also like entirely understandable. I'm pretty sure that's how most people would act in that scenario.
Yeah.
You know, they're not gonna have fucking dignity. They're not gonna be cool about it. You know.
Yeah, the Saul Rubinek nearly steals the last half of that movie, and I didn't know for the longest time the reason why they cast him, not just because he's a great actor, but he's a Canadian actor. He really does not come to America for movies. He just doesn't. And they were looking for someone who could do basically Joel Silver. Tony Scott had just got done working with Joel Silver on Last Boy Scout, and he said it was the worst experience of his fucking life. He hated Bruce Willis's guts. He hated Joel Silver, and he wanted to mock him. So they kind of tailored that character more to be like a Joel Silver type. I love it when that scene where he's talking about what are they calling the sequel to Body Bags? Sir, they're calling it Body Bags 2. Oh my god, I got more taste in my dick.
Wow.
Yeah, and I could go though the rest of my life, and thank God Tarantino gave it up. Another what do you call it, Mexican standoff scene. Sweet Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
But when it does break out, it is pure chaos, and you feel it. You don't know what's happening. You don't know who's going to survive. And of course, one of the big controversies for Tarantino was the ending was changed to be, because I think the original test shoot was that he does die, and the audience hated it after going on this journey with him, and he dies. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I agree with the audience. I don't
Yeah,
want. I don't want to
this
see him
is-
die. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that I would have hated that. I don't know, one of these trivia things in here says, I don't know how this is possible. It says some VH copies had Paul, Ben, Victor shoot Chris Penn in the final shootout, not Patricia Arquette. How is that possible that somehow there's a version of that floating around in the universe?
Because there was two VHSs. There was the unrated director's cut, and then there was a regular cut. So at the time, Blockbuster Video would not carry unrated VHS tapes. And so independent video stores like ours had a choice of buying either the original theatrical or the unrated. The only thing that we ever saw was the theatrical cut, because remember, I bought this soon afterwards from Columbia House, and that's the only version they had. But yes, in the version, well, now I'm trying to remember which one. I know in one where she gets upset because Clarence gets shot, and then she opens fire and hits Chris Penn. But then there's another one where Paul Ben Victor is down behind the couch, and he's like, "Get out of there, you fucking wop," or whatever, and he goes, "Bitty," or something like that. And he drops his gun and then shoots him. But in one of the cuts, I think he actually shoots Michael Beach, and it goes under his vest, between his belt and his vest, and hits him in the stomach and kills him. So I can't remember which version is which.
Wow, well, that's interesting to know. I might need to watch, both versions.
I wonder if the
That's
audience
interesting.
I wonder if the audience was apprehensive of seeing such a sweet, innocent character kill somebody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you can get through, wait, doesn't she kill the guy after beating her up?
Yeah, you're right. She smashes his head, Gandolfini's head with,
God,
uh,
that is the most epic, like, duke out I
yeah,
have seen. And and they don't pull any punches just because she's a girl and like a small girl.
yeah. I think that she could have been an action star if audiences were ready. If it was 10 years later, Patricia Arquette could have been an action star on the level of like Angelina Jolie and um, uh,
She has some fucking range, man.
yeah. There's a it seems like she's a star that was unusual. There's something so different about her, and whatever reason, she didn't fit the sexy Playboy model mold that she wasn't accepted. And I'm just like, that's fucking horseshit. She's beautiful. She's a great actor. She should have got better.
Yeah, she's sexy as heck in this movie, but it really didn't seem like very many people wanted to. I mean, maybe she didn't want that for herself.
That could be.
But
Some people are more independent minded, so.
this and Kissing Kate Barlow and Holes, top notch, baby.
So if you haven't figured out yet, we didn't mention the heist. So it's basically the he thinks it's money, right? And it's filled with cocaine when he goes to Gary Oldman's place and ends up killing him.
He grabbed a suitcase thinking it was her shit.
That's
just
right.
her belongings. He thought he was just bringing her belongings because he wanted her to have to be free and clear of them. Lo and behold, she opens it up and she was so excited. She's like, "No, this is not my stuff."
Yeah. And that's the worst part. But then again, what were they supposed to do? They can't go back to the scene of the crime. They can't exactly dump it because even if they threw it away, the mob would still be after him no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, they were connected no matter what, but it's just like, I mean, these are two people who, are decent people, but they're also coming from pretty much nothing, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, he works in a comic book shop and she's a prostitute. They see an opportunity and they want to try to improve their, place in the world, and this looks like a possible way to do that.
Yeah. And there's the one moment in there that's very actually I think there's two moments in this, I can't remember, where they're watching something and it's kind of a throwback to the stuff that Tarantino loves, which gives its that's his voice, is the Street Fighter marathon that he's watching in the movie theater. And I believe they're watching A Better Tomorrow 2 with John Woo, or with Chow Yun Fat.
Is that the Donald Duck Mickey Mouse thing?
No, that's The Killer.
That's The Killer. Okay. I got confused because I was like, oh yeah, I mean, Chow Yun Fat, I knew right away, but gosh, she's cool.
You know what's weird is because of it's a kind of a transference of different things. Like some of the stuff I got that were weird, I got from Aaron Hawley. And then I would watch it, and then you would watch it. Sometimes I would find it in magazines because, like, early 90s is when I really started exploring some stuff beyond the mainstream. Having cable helped. Watching USA Up All Night. What's the show that Monster Vision with Joe Bob Briggs and Late Night MTV, Comedy Central. Finding like nooks and crannies of bizarre stuff and kind of passing it off onto you. And I don't know, it just seemed like
I was a sponge, dude.
Yeah.
I was just like, bring it on.
Well, and our mother she has eccentric taste sometimes in movies. She's the one who took us to Beetlejuice. She's the one who got us Earth Girls Are Easy from the video store. That's not a porno, people. Just make sure you know that.
She's pretty open. I mean, she's pretty open-minded. I think that you did kind of trick her, or maybe completely trick her into taking us to see Pulp Fiction in the movie theater, of which I tell that story to people a lot about possibly why I am the person that I am today.
I don't remember tricking, but
it had a bit of an effect on me.
Okay, yeah, it's just funny, like thinking like Popcorn. Who the fuck knew who Popcorn was? Like in Darkman, and
just you and me, you and me.
Yeah, just trying to find My Demon Lover, just stuff like that seemed oddball that we had to find, But yeah, and Tarantino's right in that wheelhouse of, hey, this is unusual. We have to see this. It has a voice that's different than what we've been sold to by the big studios.
I do think that we definitely had like interesting taste, and I think that while we were pretty open to a lot of stuff, I think we definitely could see when something was, different and special.
Yeah. Speaking of different and special, I can't promote this movie highly enough. It's a very low budget, made out of Michigan by two best friends. Basically, they worked on it for 2 years by themselves. It's called Hundreds of Beavers. It's free pretty much everywhere. It's ad supported. It helps them cover their budget. Seriously, it's an absolute fucking hoot. Hundreds of Beavers. If you want a crazy, unique, independent movie, there you go.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say this little movie called Evil Dead.
Which
that descriptor also fits for Evil Dead.
Yeah, true. 40 years ago, that would have been something I would have been pushing real hard. All right, everybody. That is it. Thank you, Mindy.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, everybody. Keep watching the screens.